Hi, I have a question for you. Are you suffering from taxophobia? What's taxophobia? Okay, let me tell you what a phobia is. A phobia is an unreasonable fear of something. Right now, I know that a lot of people in Nigeria are suffering from fear of taxes. Do you know why? Because they don't have enough information about it. So I am going to break it down in very simple terms for us. So I'm sure we're all aware of this new tax reform act that's coming up and it's generated a lot of hysteria amongst business people and people generally. So I want to break down 5 misconceptions about this new tax law. So let's get into it. Okay, so what is the number one misconception? Is that everyone will pay taxes regardless of their income. This is so far from the truth. The real fact is that the new tax law, this Nigerian Tax Act, taking effect in January 2026, has actually moved up the threshold for people that are going to be paying tax, the amount required before you qualify to pay taxes. The first thing is that if you're earning 800,000 naira and below in income salaries, you're tax free, you're home free, no taxes payable. This wasn't used to be the case, right? But right now, what the government has done is that let's make the people that can pay more, let them pay more. The people that can afford, you're not going to pay anything. Secondly, if you're a business owner, the definition of a small business has actually changed. So if you're making sales 50 million naira and below in a particular year, you're not going to pay any form of taxes. Meaning that you can sell like 1 million naira a week, thereabout. That is exactly what it says, thereabout. So you're going to be paying zero taxes. And also, by definition, if your total asset is less than 250 million naira in assets, you're not going to pay any form of taxes. So how can you tell me that the government is trying to get a lot from you? It's actually saying that those who can actually afford to pay less will not pay, even bother to pay anything. That is the number one misconception. So if you are earning less than 800,000, your business is making less than 50 million naira in a year, your assets of a company are less than 250 million naira, zero form of taxes. Let's go on. What is the second misconception? That misconception is that taxes will be levied on your total sales. That is definitely not true. That's not how taxes work. When you're talking about in- income, there are two types. If you're a business owner or you're a salaried person, right? Now, a salaried person earns total income, and that is where you have the tax-free pay. Also, on the business side, you're a small business owner. Regardless of your turnover, it is the profit that will be taxed. So, if you're making below 50 million in a particular year, it means that there are going to be zero taxes payable. But if you're making 50 million and above, it means that all your expenses, all your business expenses, mind you, business expenses will be removed, will be deducted from the total sales to arrive at a taxable or accessible profit. This is what happens in the real world. So it's not that if you make a sale of 1 million naira, government is going to deduct 20% of the profit. That's not how it works. So we need knowledge to be able to understand what is going on. So what am I saying? The second misconception again is that taxes are levied on your sales. It's not true. Taxes are actually levied on your profit, and profits are determined by keeping proper records and ensuring that you have removed all the expenses of your business, arrived at a reasonable profit, which can then be taxed. What's the next one? The third one, the proponents say that this new tax law will lead to lower disposable income. Now let's go over this together, right? Now, the government has moved your tax-free pay from 200,000 plus 20% of whatever gross income you earn to 800,000 tax-free, meaning that everybody in that tax bracket will actually go home with more money. So it's not going to lead to any. It's not going to lead to what we call lower disposable income. Even if you're a business owner, right now, before you used to pay taxes on almost everything, any turnover, any sales kind of sale that you make. But right now, the threshold has gone up. So you have to be making sales of above 50 million naira able to pay taxes. Meaning that if you make profits, even on the 50 million turnover, your modest profits, everything belongs to you. So this is what the law is trying to do. It wants to tax only the people that can afford to pay more and leave those people that are in the lower brackets to be able to have a lot more disposable income. The fourth misconception actually is that taxes will be paid on gifts and transfers between individuals. That is definitely not true. I was watching a YouTube video recently where one influencer was talking to people and said, look, we Nigerians in diaspora, if you send money to your parents or friends in Nigeria, government is going to take 20% of the money, we're in trouble. That is very, very misleading. That is not true. The fact is that once your money has been taxed once, there are no other taxes. And these are ways of spending our money. Once you have collected your salary, you're taking your business income, you're free to spend it as you like, subject, of course, to consumption taxes where they apply. And that we can cover in some future video. And it's not every single transaction that are subject to value added taxes or sales tax, as the case may be. So, what am I saying? There's no truth in the fact that if you send money to anyone, that government is going to take a portion of it. That is definitely not true. Of course, what the government is doing, there's a lot of new businesses that are going to come into the tax bracket. Yes, a lot of them, influencers, people doing digital work and all that. We're going to cover all that soon. But suffice to say that sending money to your friends and relatives are not taxable. So let's go into the final misconception. So the final misconception is that people are saying that this is the worst kind of taxes that we ever seen. The laws are draconian. Oh God, we're in trouble. Nigeria is it's not definitely not true. All we need to do is just to look at where we're coming from and where we're going to be shortly. Then I'll just break it down quickly. Now, the fact is that the tax rates have actually reduced, one, over the course of the last 2 years. That is number one. Then the band, the people that are going to be paying taxes, the qualifying turnover, the qualifying income have actually been raised. The band has been raised higher, such that a lot more people are going to fall below the non-taxable band. And what the government is saying is that if you are a small business owner, if you are, you're a mid-income, lower-income earner, you're not going to be paying any form of income taxes, which is exactly what the government is trying to do, so that the people can have a lot more disposable income, and then you can spend a lot more money. The economy becomes vibrant, and those who can afford more will actually pay more. As a matter of fact, according to this tax law, right, that you need to be paying, if you compare side by side with where we're coming from and what's going to take effect in January, you need to be earning about 30 million naira, which is about 2.5 million naira monthly, to actually pay more in taxes. That is if you're already paying taxes. But I know a lot of these bra is about people that, of course, they are not paying taxes before, so they're actually scared of paying taxes. That's why I call it taxophobia. They're actually afraid of coming to tax bracket. But that is a story for another day. But there's no need to be afraid. If you just do the right thing, then we're all going to be okay. So if you want to watch the full version of this video, where we can break it down, all these misconceptions and how taxes really work, we have a channel on YouTube. It's called Rent and Accountant channel, where you can see the full version of this video. And you can learn a lot more about taxes. Thank you. My name is Yomi Kukoi once again. God bless.